Hi, I'm Cedric West, and I'm the owner of CS West and Associates PA. I am a CPA as well as a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Again, the purpose of my series is to teach you everything that you need to know about QuickBooks Online to give you a good basis to get started. And today we will be talking about how to create an invoice. So when you sell products or services, how do you get paid? If a customer pays at time of sale, then you will use the sales receipt. But if the customer will pay you at a later date, then you will use the invoice. If you go to the sales tab here, you will see your dashboard. Yours may look different than mine. This is a demo company. But in order to create an invoice, it's very easy. You go to the sales tab, then you go to new transaction, you select invoice, and then this screen will appear. You will select the customer. For example, let's choose Cool Cars. Or if your customer is not added, or if you want to add a new customer, you can select Add New. You can enter the name. You can add in multiple details, the name, the address, phone number, website, email. Email is very important if you're going to send them the invoice via online and if you want them to pay through online as well. So you go through here and you select your customer. You see the billing address populates, the email populates. Here you have your terms, which is net 30. That means from the day that you create the invoice, you give them 30 days in order to pay for the invoice. Or you can select due on receipt. It just all depends on your terms and your conditions. You can select the invoice date, maybe if you need to backdate it for some reason. And then you select the due date automatically. If you select net 30, it would populate that date for you. If I select net 60, as you can see, this due date change. If I do net 10, again, that change. Do net 15, that change as well. And other than that, once you have your terms and conditions available, then you will select your product or service. It could be concrete, design, gardening, and in this case, hours, installation. So you will select your service or product. But if you haven't added the product or service yet, you will select Add New. And you will select if it's an inventory item, a non-inventory, service, or bundle. Then just fill out the description of your invoice. If you need to upload any documentations, you can add that here. You could drag and drop. You could put in a statement memo. And then this is a message that would be displayed on the invoice as well. You have your quantity. You select your rate. Let's say, for example, for concrete, I charge $50 for one slab of concrete. And I use 8 slabs of concrete. That's $400. Now, if it's taxable or if it's not taxable, you could select this here. If it's not taxed, you would select that this is not taxable. But if you're adding taxes to the product or service, you make sure that you select this box. Then it will give you a drop down box here to add in your tax rate. And this depends on your state. If you're in, for example, I'm in California, so I'm adding an additional 8% to my product here. And so as you can see, as soon as I updated it here, you have this $32, which is 8% of the 400, and then the balance due is 432. But if you don't have a sales, just say I'm adding this as Florida, and say Florida Department of Revenue. Let's make up a number here. Just say the rate is 10% that I add. It's a single tax rate. Select save, and then you can see this amount was updated. This is the tax percentage that I'm adding to the invoice, and you can see this is the total, the balance due. If you're feeling generous, you can do a discount percentage, or you can do a discount value. It all depends. Just say you wanted a promotion where you're doing a service if they buy over $300, or if they buy $400 or more, you want to give them a $50 discount. You will select the discount value. You put that amount is, and then you will see this negative amount of $50. $50. This is the discount value, and you see that your total change. Or if you're doing a percentage, where if they pay $400 or more, in this case, you want to do a discount percentage. And I'm doing a 5% discount. And as you can see, this 5% discount has been applied, and now my balance due is $420. You do have the option, if you want to save these later, if you want to send this invoice later at a later date, you can select send later. Then that will prompt you to send the invoice at a later date. If not, if you want to send it right then and there, you can. You have the option to do so. And you could select save. You can select save and send. You can select save and create a new invoice, save and close, or save and share the link. You have different options. If you want to see what it's going to look like to the customer, you could do print or preview. Say print or preview. And this is what the customer will see. This is how the invoice is going to look on their end. You could always change the designs. You could customize the invoice to your liking. And actually, I will show you that in just a few moments. But you can also make this invoice recurring. If you're going to bill this client every month on the 17th, you can make this recurring, and then you can add in, this is the template name. You can change this name. You could schedule it, or you could have it as a reminder. You could actually schedule where it's create the invoice for you, or you can have it to, or you can set it as a reminder, meaning it's going to remind you to create this invoice. It all depends on your preference, if you want it to be reminded, or if you want the invoice to be created as well. Let's say, for example, I want to have this on the day of the 17th. So I can have it to be created one day in advance, where I go in and I check all of my recurring invoices the day before, make sure the information is correct. Then I can have it send out on the 17th. So I want to create it one day in advance. This is the customer. This is the email. You can select print later, or you can automatically send the email if you know that if it's going to be the same amount. But again, you do have this option where you want to create it a few days in advance. That gives you time to look at the information, make sure nothing changed, or the amount. Just say if you need to add in additional services or products, you can add that here at the bottom. And then the interval is, say you have daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. I'm going to be sending this on a monthly basis. You can choose either the day, or you can choose the first Monday of every month, the second Monday, or the second Tuesday, or whatever day that you choose, or your preference, or your interval. I like to do on the day. I like to do a specific day. So I'm going to send this invoice on a monthly basis on the 17th of every 1 month. So that means every month you're going to send this invoice on the 17th. But it will be created on the 16th, because you put create the invoice 1 day in advance. And then what's your start date? Your start date will be, you can do April 1st. Start on April 1st. It's going to start picking up, well, you're going to start creating these invoices automatically for you. And just say this is for a product. You could end it by a certain day, or you want to end it after 5 occurrences. It just all depends, or none. If you know that this is going to be a continuing recurring fee, make sure the billing address is correct. You put in your terms and conditions. And then this is an added feature. You may not see this feature on your invoices. All depends on your settings. So crew, you can select, this is crew number 154. Again, you can add lines, you can clear lines, you can add a subtotal. so that if you're having multiple lines, instead of them getting confused, you can see here's the subtotal for each line or for each product or service. There was the subtotal, but you could delete the subtotal. Again, you could you could customize your message displayed on the invoice. If you want to create a statement memo, you can. Then you could add, or drag and drop any attachments that you want to add to this invoice as well. And as stated before, here's your total amount. Here's your taxes. If you're going to charge taxes, here's the taxable amount, discount percentage. And if you don't want to give them a discount going forward, you can just delete this, and then that will revert back to zero. So the balance due at every month will be $440. You save the template, and then that's it. You're done. But other than that, if you have any questions on how to create an invoice, actually, let me show you once you select send. If you could open up this invoice here. So you created your invoice, you added the customer name, you added the email address, you added the billing address, the terms, the invoice date, the due date, your product or service, and the description, the quantity, the rate, the amount, and just say you added the taxable percentage, you added the discount percent as well, and then you want to select this box that says save and send. It will populate. Again, this is how the invoice will show to the customer. Then here's your subject line, and then here's your body. You can customize this, and you can tailor it to each customer that you send this out to, or you can keep the standard message. Then you will select save and send and close. And then normally what happened that it will send to the customer, but since this is a demo company, you won't be able to send the invoice in this case. But other than that, that's how you create an invoice. And then after you create the invoice, you will see it here. This is invoice number 1038. It's due on April 1st. The balance is $420. The status is open. And if you receive the payment, you could manually receive the payment, or you can send a reminder. You can share the invoice link. You can print packing slip, or you can make a copy of this invoice. So you have different options that you can choose from this drop down. So other than that, now it's your turn. You can start sending out invoices and start getting paid. Thank you all for joining me on how to create an invoice. See you next time.